spreading round. United Texas town. About to shack outside the game. You know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you wanna go to that whole mile on the range. They got a lot of nice girls. I'm racing.
Hey everybody, how we doing today? It's Logan Hall back with another Logan Hall's Grill Stream. So let's take that off the screen and it's just me now. Um, so what we're doing today is we're doing a rack of lamb. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while now. I just was, sort of going back and forth on, I guess, how I wanted to do this because there's a few different ways that I could have approached this. And ultimately, I think the way that I picked will be the best. Um, but let me show you what I have going on here. Just a moment. I need to put something away in the fridge, actually. All right, that's down. So we're walking outside. All right. So let's turn on the camera. There's me. And what I'll do, let's flip the camera around. Settings, camera. Let's do ultra wide. Yeah, so this is what we have going on today. So this is the star of the show. These are some lamb racks that I picked up, or a lamb rack that I picked up from Costco. They do have a slight purple tinge to them, and that's because I actually decided to do a sort of a red wine and broth kind of, you know, overnight sort of wet brine. And again, I'm not entirely sure what that will do, but I'm hoping that it will just, enhance the flavors and whatnot. This was wrapped up in a paper towel just because I didn't, or basically because I wanted to make sure that all the liquid had kind of, dried off and can have them patted off. So we'll take that off in a moment. Um, but again, there's all kinds of other things going on today. We're also going to do a different style of potato dish than I normally do. I was planning on doing mashed potatoes, but I find that like I always do mashed potatoes, right? So we're gonna do something a little bit different today, and we have some veggies, a lot of you know herbs and spices and whatnot. But something I do want to show you guys in here. Let me flip it this way, actually. Yeah, there we go. Something I do want to show you guys is a thing that I got for Christmas. So when you have a grill like this, hey there, let's flip that around here. Alrighty, guys, sorry about that. So anyway, so something that I got for Christmas was this pretty cool sort of torch, I guess. So you start it like this, you get it going, and then you press this button, and so now we can do this. So pretty cool, huh? So other than just it being cool, this will actually, be much better to light the charcoals when we do these kinds of sort of like Kamado style cooks. So I'm gonna set that right here. Like so. And so what we'll probably want to do first actually is let's just make sure that the lamb is pretty, patted dry. And, again, we will actually work on a sort of a seasoning for it. But actually, before we do that, what I'll probably do is let's go ahead and get the fire started. So I'll kind of point that down for you guys. So let's take off the grates real quick. And there's actually still a few pieces of charcoal in here from the last time that I used this. Um, so that's good. That means not as much that I need to put in this time. So I'm going to go grab the charcoal. So that's that bag done. I'll have to go get more of that. Let's move this around just a little bit. And I have a fire starter here. Let me use. So they kind of look like a little bomb, which I think is kind of funny. And also, by the way, sorry if you hear a train in the background. I can't really do much about that. But I'm just going to nestle that guy in, and then I'm going to put a couple pieces of charcoal over him, just so that that'll light properly. And now we can use this. So that should get us started. Make sure that bottom vent is open because that's where we get all the air from. And also now is a good time to clean this out too. So I'll do that. So let's close that up, and we're going to open up this top vent here so we have air circulation going through. So while that comes up to temperature, what we'll do now, I guess I actually should just give you guys a quick sort of update. I mean, it's been a while since I've streamed, so let me actually tilt up here. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me? Let me go back to the stream here. I can take a quick live view here. Yes. Okay, that actually works out pretty well. So anyway, so yeah, so it's been a while since I've streamed. Mainly, I guess. So mainly, like just like for one reason. Well, actually, I guess two. So obviously, obviously, obviously we had like the holidays, and I was with my family, and that was some downtime. And then shortly after sort of like the whole sort of holiday season, I ended up taking a pretty good chunk out of my pinky. Um, I was making a cocktail. I believe it was a Manhattan or a Negroni. I can't remember. Um, but essentially, what happened was I bought this new peeler, basically. Like for like garnish and lemon skin or orange peel or whatever. So anyway, so this was my first time using it, and I bought it because I had misplaced my old peeler. Like I used to have one that was more like a handle, and it was sort of parallel, I guess, to the blade. But anyway, so I ended up losing that one, and I thought, well, I'll buy this one. I've seen other people use it, and it seems to be a good product. So anyway, so I ended up buying it, and I was using it to slice an orange peel. Um, and what ended up happening was the orange was in this hand, and I had the peeler in this hand, and I ended up snagging the sort of like the bottom half of my pinky as I was going down with the peeler. The peeler was actually kind of tough to use in that like it wasn't really sort of peeling sort of how I wanted to. So I ended up using a little bit of force, and so that force ended up kind of biting me in the ass, and giving me a pretty severe cut. Um, I again, originally I thought that I could just stop it with a bunch of paper towels and some band-aids and whatnot, but it was bleeding through all that very quickly. So I thought, okay, I need to go to the hospital or go to like the ER basically. Um, and so that's what I did. There's thankfully like sort of like a satellite ER office, um, only about 8 minutes down the road from me. So that ended up working out really well. Um, but essentially that was I think over a month ago now. Um, and there was a lot of pain involved when I was initially having this injury. But there's really not much any pain sort of now, after sort of all this time. I mean, it still needs to heal. Like there's still definitely like a sort of scar on there, and it's still going to take probably another 2 or 3 weeks to fully heal. Um, but then just last night, using the same peeler, I fucked this one up too. My middle finger. Uh, so the peeler was lodged in my drawer, and it was lodged in such a way that I could not open the door, or not the door, but like the drawer. You know, it was stuck. Um, but at the time, I didn't know that it was the peeler that was causing it to be stuck. So I decided to turn on the light, get some better lighting, and then I tried to like poke around in there to see what was blocking it from opening. And sure enough, it was the stupid peeler again. Um, and I ended up slicing my middle finger too. Not again, sort of not nearly as bad as a pinky. Like the pinky, like like there was an actual chunk of pinky on my counter when that happened. With this though, there was just like a pretty large gash, but it was very shallow, right? So anyway, I won't spare you guys sort of like the gruesome details of sort of everything there, other than what I've already shared. Right? But again, so that's the main reason why I haven't been, I guess, sort of streaming sort of as much lately. Um, but another, well, I mean, not a reason why I haven't streamed, but like another thing that has happened since I last streamed was I got glasses, right? So over the Christmas break, I was with my family, and we were just chatting, we were watching TV, um, and there was something sort of on the TV or like a commercial or something that had like really small font, and I was like, man, I couldn't read that. Like I was like maybe 8 to 10 feet away from the TV, on like a chair or couch or whatever, and I was like, man, I can't see that. So what I ended up doing was I decided to go get a eye exam just to see if I need glasses. Like I just turned 31, so I'm definitely sort of past the age for glasses. Your eyes start to go pretty quickly, right? Um, so anyway, so I got an eye exam. They're like, yeah, you need glasses. So that's what I did. I got some glasses. I have two pairs right now. There's like a cheap one that I used just to get me by that was sort of quick. But then I just picked up these Friday actually. So these are Versace uh, designer glasses. And like I really like them. Like they also have sort of like the color changing aspect to them, like when you get into the sunlight and whatnot. I don't know if that even shows up on the stream right now, actually. A little bit, yeah, actually does. Um, hey, we have some folks in the chat here. We have Dodger from Poland. Hey, hope all is doing well, bud. Weather's good, good reason. Still freezing here too. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely been cold here. Although, although like right now, it's actually nice. It's maybe like 68 degrees. But there is a lot of overcast. That there was some light rain earlier, but again, I think we'll be okay for what we're doing now currently. So, um, but yes, damn, peelers are deadly. But well, um, later on when I need to go inside, and grab a few like cold things, I'll bring the peeler out, and again, and I'll show you, I guess, the kind not to buy. Um, because I'm sending it back to Amazon with a nasty review. Um, but anyway, OC says that he's here for the dill chopping. Well, unfortunately, there's not going to be any dill chopping today, but I do have parsley that will take at least 45 minutes, if not longer, right? Uh, joking, right? But um, but there are a lot of herbs involved with what I'm making today. So I'll kind of go over that here in a minute. But again, I just want to update you guys on those two sort of things, um, while we kind of let this grill sort of come up to temperature, and we kind of take a look at what we have here. So I'm going to put this camera back down here, and let's see if that is a good. No, that's not a good angle. All right, so that's better. So anyway, so this rack is pretty dry now. Although one thing that we want to do is we want to score the meat, or at least score the fat. Scoring is a technique where we can sort of have a lot of fat. This is common on like pork belly, or anything that is pretty fatty. What you'll do is again, you won't cut all the way through, obviously, but you're going to cut just far enough down to where you actually start to get sort of a impression on the meat or the fat. And you want to leave maybe like an inch and a half to an inch of space between each slice. And then once you've done that all in one direction, again, I didn't mention this, but actually, let me do this. Let me bring it up here. That might give you. Let me do it like this so that you guys can see that just a little bit better. Um, but again, I was doing this at a roughly sort of 30-degree angle. You'll want to do the same thing, but in the opposite direction, uh, going around the other way too. Just like so. So now you have sort of like a crosshatch sort of pattern. Let me bring this up back to this view. And so this is what you're left with. You're left with sort of that sort of crosshatch pattern there. Um, so that's the first step. The other thing that we want to do is we want to make sort of it's like the marinade, or not a marinade, but more of just like a spice blend that will sort of go along with this, right? Um, that's what we'll make here in a moment. But first, actually, I just want to mention one more thing before we do that. You will notice that the sort of like the bone pieces here don't have any meat on them or anything like that. That is a technique called Frenching. Of course, comes from French cooking, but the idea is when you want to remove any of the sort of like the fat or any kind of meat from the bone, and you want to have the bone exposed, you will French it, meaning that you will take off any extra meat or fat from the bone. Um, you know, you can sort of here in the States, um, there's also like another term for it. It's called sort of, well, there's actually like, like with chicken or like or drumsticks, you can do what's called lollipopping them, meaning that you again shave back any kind of meat or you kind of push it down into one spot and then you expose the bone, and that will basically allow you to have sort of like a handle or like a handle on a lollipop. So that's kind of where that comes from too. But anyway, I think that's enough schooling for the moment. Let's remove this. I'll do one final pat all the way around. All right. So let's make this more flavorful. What I'll do is we're going to be using this kind of micro blender here, or sort of food processor. And I'll bring it over here for now, but it has a fairly short cord on it. So I won't be able to blend sort of this closely, but let me just make sure that looks okay. Yeah, you guys can see it. So what's going in here? We want to use some Dijon mustard. You know what? Let me do all the wet stuff last. Let's actually do the dry stuff first. So I'm just going to put in a bit of salt, but just two large pinches. I'm also going to do pepper, freshly cracked, freshly ground, of course. I could have done black sort of peppercorns too, because again, this is a blender, and it could just do the blending for me. Um, but sometimes you still end up with like really big chunks of a peppercorn, and that may not be, it sort of may not be as sort of desirable, I guess. Um, but what I want to do now is I'm going to use some of this parsley here, and we're going to use that in here as well. We will, again, sort of going back to sort of the stream that I had with OC and Curly and and Mark, um, for like for like the chefing with Moses thing. Curly asked me, do you use the stalk, or sort of like the stem on your herbs? When I'm blending it into sort of a like a salsa or even sort of like a rub, like what I'm making, I do use that. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna take, maybe about that much, and I'm just gonna fold this in. Let's first make sure there's no sticker or anything on there. I might chop this just very, very roughly, just to give the processor just a little bit of a head start. And sorry if that's moving the camera. But we're going to stuff that in there. I did just a few rough chops, stems and all. What we'll do now is I'm going to take some rosemary, and I'm actually going to pick off the leaves. So let me get into my picking position here. And let me just make sure that this is still a good angle for you guys. Hold on. Yes, it is. Hey, Jen, we have a few more folks. We have Boston. Boston is complimenting me on my rack. I've rarely ever been complimented on my rack, but it's good to know that I'm well endowed, Boston. So thank you for that. Um, Jen G, hey, Logan, Frenching. We're not here to learn about your love of your love life. Yeah, yeah. Well, there's um several different versions of Frenching. Let's just say that. Dodger says the rack would look great with some tiny white chef's hat on the end. Yeah, yeah, yes. You know, I mean, I have seen that before actually. Dodger. When you don't want the when you don't want the bones to really get cooked or sort of too blackened, you can actually wrap them with some uh, wrap them with some foil. Um, I don't, again, I don't think that I'll be doing that today, but again, that is just something to keep in mind for the future in case you want to do something like that. Um, Dodger says he always uses stems on my herbs. Well, there you go. We have a stem user. Dodger is a fan of stem cell research. But anyway, let's keep picking here. OC, don't worry, this is only going to take 30 minutes. No leaf goes you can sort of you can sort of no leaf is forgotten here. And I'm just going to toss that into my trash over there as we do that. But again, this shouldn't take too terribly long. Let me bring this up just a little bit. We have 4 people in the chat. If you guys are watching and you're enjoying me picking leaves off a rosemary stem, please consider upvoting. It helps spread the word about good cooking. So probably what I'll do, once I get all the dry stuff in, I'm probably going to blitz it real quick and then add in the wet stuff a little bit, later after it's been partially blitzed. I feel like if I blitz it with everything in there, all the dry stuff may not get chopped as nice as I want it to. It may get lost in the liquid. So that's my strategy and theory on chopping. You know what? I should write a thesis about that. I never got a doctorate or anything, so. Is that a nice Wusthof, a Damascus steel knife? Well, this is actually from a company called Kahn. But it is, yes, it is actually a Damascus steel. Again, I don't know how many layers of steel it is, but again, it's sort of like a Japanese sort of chef knife there. I've personally found that again, like the Japanese really know what they're doing when it comes to knife. Of course, they have um, sort of all like the ninjas back in the day and like the samurai swords. So if anybody knows how to make knives, it's the Japanese. Anyway, OC, there's only going to be about 10 more minutes of picking of the leaves. So just pop your popcorn because this is only the first part. We're also going to do some lemon zest. Again, I'm trying to think of all the dry stuff here. Oh, we also have um, a few. What do you call them? I'm completely blanking. Sorry. Let me finish this up, and maybe my mind will be more clear. Oh, garlic, little sort of cloves of garlic. So we're going to put that in here too. All right. OC, you can sort of unshield your eyes now. all the rosemary has been removed from the stem. Um, I guess that does kind of contradict what I was saying earlier about using the stem, for things. I think that stem, so like the rosemary stem, is pretty, you know. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I got a phone call, but it was just spam. Nobody likes spam in their phone. So anyway, let's kind of finish this up here. Let's do. We're gonna. Oh yeah. I also have some time too. So we're not quite done with the leaf picking. OC. You might have to shield your eyes just a little bit longer. Um, we have some shallots here too. I think that'll add a nice touch. And we have some lemon. Um, yeah. You know what? Let me get a zester or like a microplane, and then I'll be right back. So if you don't have one of these, this is what's called a microplane zester. Um, this is this is again, like, to me, something that sort of everybody needs to have. This is used for, again, zesting, skin of a lemon or a orange, or it's great for like for nutmeg. If you have like a whole nutmeg or whatever, or a a nut of nutmeg. Again, I don't know what the unit is for nutmeg, but anyway, you can also do shaved chocolate. You can do shaved cheese. But if you don't have one of these, again, this is from Microplane, and I would highly recommend that every kitchen has one. Um, Now, before we move on to the next part, I do want to show you sort of this troublemaker here. So this is an OXO Good Grips uh, peeler. Um, this fucker has nearly sent me to the hospital twice. Um, so here's the damage right there. So again, if you have one of these types of peelers in your drawer, throw it out just like that. Because you don't need it. It's going to cause you harm, bodily harm, and many fluids will come out of your body. So again, just kind of toss that away. You don't need it. Um, Instead, I would recommend that you guys use one that actually has a handle, and the blade is sort of parallel to the handle. It's not going to be sort of perpendicular like that one. So anyway, so I'm going to pick that up uh, out from the grass. I did that more for theatrical purposes, but yes, but this actually will be going in the trash. Or again, I might see if I can get like my money back from Amazon. Um, but anyway, don't bother getting one of those. You should get the other kind. I don't have like a good sort of visual right now on that, but uh, because and sorry guys, it's getting a little bit of windy here. Um, and that doesn't mean from my ass. I mean just from the natural Mother Nature wind. Um, these leaves are significantly smaller. So I may actually just put in a few stems here. Again, I don't think it's going to really do much, but I've also seen people just kind of like run their fingers across it and kind of do something like that. Again, I can't do it quite as well as they can. Um, but anyway, I won't go too crazy with this, but I'll see how much I can get in here without people leaving the stream. Because I know that this is incredibly riveting content. Okay, I did actually manage to do it that way. So maybe it's a combination of like 3 fingers, and you just kind of run your finger down that, right? So anyway, yeah, I think I'm just gonna stuff a lot of these in here and just let the processor process. Let it do its job. Yeah, it's starting to rain just a little bit. Hopefully, it won't get won't get sort of bad enough to where we need to stop or anything. But there is a slight sort of a you know mist coming my way. So all that's kind of stuff down in there. Another thing that we can add is I'm going to add a few bulbs. Let's just do all of it. I have 4 bulbs of kind of like this, like baby sort of shallot. Um, I've got trash flying here for now. Let's just sit on it. You know what? And let's peel away the skins again. And you don't necessarily want the skins in your sort of rub here. So what I did was I just kind of chopped off the ends, and then I halved it, and then I'm going to sort of peel away the outermost skin and use that. So again, I have about 4 of these, and I might as well just use all of them. Um, there will be more shallot use later on. I actually have some larger shallots too. Um, but I figure these will probably be good for the um, actual rub itself. So let's see. Who else? Logan, have you ever thought about talking about clean substitutes for your recipes? Having to be careful about salt and sugar. Would love to know about small modifications that would make it okay. Hey, that is a really good idea, Jen. Um, in terms of, you know, I don't know if there's a substitute for salt necessarily. I mean, you could just not use salt. I mean, it's going to taste not as good, right? But again, obviously you have a dietary restriction there, so I won't hold you to that. Now, in terms of sugar, um, I think there are more sort of natural sugars out there, like sort of cane sugar, and that might be a little bit better for you. However, um, there's also something called Splenda, of course, but that's more for drinks. But I don't see any harm in just kind of using Splenda instead of like a big handful of actual sugar. Um, Now, thankfully, there's actually not any sugar in this particular recipe. Um, but again, there have been times where I have used sugar, and I think using something like Splenda uh, might be a good option. I'm sure you're already doing that, Jim. But again, just thought I might share that too. All right, so let me quickly show you guys here. So we have those little shallots in there. What we're also going to add is a few cloves of garlic. I just have a little box of them. 2 bulbs. we're not going to use all of this. You know, we're going to use um, maybe four four cloves worth, and I'm just peeling this down here at the moment. Um, Garlic can be a really messy thing, and I didn't want to like dirty up my board too much, so there's one clove. There's kind of a tiny clove. Another clove, and this is a small clove. You know what? Let's just do a fifth one here to make up for the smaller cloves. I'll put that back in there. But again, so what we'll do now is I'm just going to chop off each end kind of lightly. And now this is breaking up into even smaller cloves. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to peel that small, but little pieces like that, then that's okay. If it is still big enough where you can get the skin off, then you should do that. You can either kind of smash it a little bit with your knife, and that will kind of make it easier to peel the skin, or you, um, or if it's too small to really get your fingers in there, then you just throw it in with the skin. Again, this is all going to be blitzed up and everything. So I don't think the end product is really going to matter too much. But if you are able to take off the skin, you know, like that, then you probably should. And again, just kind of use your knife like that. Just kind of lightly press on it. You may have seen like on TV or you know like on some other cooking shows um, where they really smash it. You know, and that's fine if you plan on like kind of like really finely mincing it. But again, for my purposes, you know, I don't need these things to be really smashed. Like the processor is going to take care of like a lot of that. So I'm just going to peel away the skin. You know, again, as much of it as I can. And I'll plop that in there. We have one more. You know, this is breaking up into about 1,000 little different pieces here. So again, I may not use all of that, but just kind of get the end off if we can. Again, I'm being careful about my knife use here because lately me and sharp objects have not really melded all that well. And I don't want to have a live spewing of blood on the stream. It'd be ratings gold though, ratings gold. Um, let's finish up this garlic. Let's peel away any unwanted skin. Toss that in. And I'm just gonna toss all this off for now. I'm gonna you can sort of after each grill stream, I kind of spend like at least 30 minutes just cleaning everything up. But this is a lot of work. You know, some people might ask, "Oh, geez, Logan, like this is so much work. Why are you doing all this?" Um, I find cooking very very sort of relaxing, very 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 therapeutic and whatnot. Um, Others, of course, may think, "Fuck that! I'm just ordering a pizza." Um, but that's not me. Um, but anyway, the last thing we'll want to do here is again bringing up the zester again. I'm going to stand up for this. So what you do is you just kind of do this motion. You kind of go from pole to pole or sort of end to end of the lemon. And then once you've built up some, you just kind of tap it in there. And also, you want to peel off any barcodes because barcodes don't taste that good. So again, you just kind of keep doing that until you get a decent amount on your zester. And I'm going to try to get all the zest off of this particular lemon. That's pretty good. So that's a decent amount up there. See that? So that's pretty good already. We will also use the juice of the lemon here, but again, I want to get all the all the um, all the dry stuff taken care of first. So what I'm going to do now, due to this being a pretty short short cord, I'm going to have to kind of do this off camera a little bit, or at least not in your view. And these outlets, sometimes you don't know which way is right. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna sit down for a moment, and again, you guys don't see this, but again, you'll hear it. Let's see if I can get this line through. There. It's pretty well minced. Again, like there are some things here that didn't quite make it. No, that's okay. We will excuse them peacefully. Um, so I think rather than showing you guys what I have now, I'm just going to go ahead and pour in some Dijon mustard. And we will also do the juice of 1 lemon. Let's, I actually should have cut that the other way. Oh well. Let me see. I did bring a juicer, or not a juicer, but this type of thing. I'll squeeze that in there. Let's do the other half of the lemon. And here in a moment, I will show you the finished product. So don't worry, you will get to see it. All right, we're going to put the lid back on. All right. So I will show you guys what I have. Sorry you couldn't actually see that, but I'm just going to move some stuff out of the way here. It's getting a little bit crowded, but anyway, let me show you what I have here. So this is the finalized sort of product here. All the herbs and everything are nice and chopped. The garlic's chopped, of course. again, sort of everything's sort of chopped, and now it's almost like a paste. Um, so what I'll do is let's get this myth out of the way. Oh, we got some more folks in here. We have my man Matthias. Um, Mathis. I did end up telling them about the second injury there. Uh, yeah, because again, like it's a little hard just to show the pinky without also showing that. But anyway, I'm slowly getting better from my injuries. Um, totally totally being a total total jabroni there. But anyway, let's catch up on the chat here before we go any further. Let's see. Dodger, I soak my meats in apple cider vinegar, 3 parts water to 1 part vinegar for 10 minutes instead of using salt. Oh, that's an interesting idea, Dodger. I don't know if I've heard that before. Um, my wife has type 2 diabetes. Found removing carbohydrates from our diet has been a huge impact. Yeah, oh, totally. Removed a ton of stuff. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Potassium chloride, interesting. Um, and we have Ryan Singer, man. Hey, Ryan, it's great to see you in the chat always. Um, I am wearing the Rolex today, and I do have my father's like gold ring here. I don't think I should wear either of those when I apply this sort of rub or sort of wet rub, I guess you could call it. Um, so I'm going to put those in my pocket for now. And what we'll do, um, there's really not a civilized way to do this, but I'm just going to use my hand, take that, and then we're going to apply that all over. Again, I can still see some of the stems here, and that's all right. The stems are going to give us some flavor. So that's what it looks like currently. Um, Now we will also season the back here. And there is this portion here that doesn't have any meat. It's just more like the membrane or like the skin, the sort of back here. Um, again, I'm fine. I'm fine, like applying some seasoning to that too. I think that'll be fine. But you won't really get the full advantage there. But let's make sure we use up a good chunk of all this. Again, you don't want it to be too crazy, but again, we have plenty here, so I'm going to use what I have. Uh, Another important thing, don't forget the sides. This has, and actually, there's a part of this too that I didn't catch as I was flipping it over here, so I'm going to gently apply that. And let's get this side too. All right. So this is the finished product here, or not the actual finished product, but the finished seasoned product. Again, we did make those sort of cuts earlier on. You can stuff some of the sort of like the again the wet brine in there too, but I think this is pretty good right now. So what we'll do, this is fully ready to go. And I'm gonna wash my hands real quick, and then we're gonna configure the grill so that we actually put it on there after like an hour in, right? So I'll be right back. So something else I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to take this probe here and we will insert that as close to the middle as we can, like so. And I'm going to bring you guys over here. All right. Something that I've been meaning to share over the Christmas break, I decided to buy myself a little Christmas present. It's a digital probe. And it kind of works with this thing over here too. Again, I'll talk about that a little bit later, but um, this is nice and hot now. Although they are already pretty white, and I know that sort of like throughout the course of the cook, that's going to get even more white and even more hot. I'm going to add a little bit more charcoal in there real quick. So give me one second. Well, I thought I had another bag. What I might end up doing is just actually using some briquettes here. So those are going to get hot here. What I'll do, let's go ahead and put on my gloves. And in terms of the configuration today, I think what I'll do, you know what, I can't really put my glove on with this whole situation, so I guess I'm just going to go one-handed today. What I'll do, make sure that that's nice and snug in there. So I'm going to have one grate fairly close to the bottom. Like so. And that's what we'll use to get the final sear on it. But for now, we're actually going to be using sort of a, two-zone type of drilling here for now. Let's put this other grate in here. Put a sort of a deflector shield in there. And then I need a couple more grates here. So let me go down here. Actually, it's one more really. So that's where that's going to sit. And what we can do is I'm going to, I did have a scraper out here to get sort of like that gunk off. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I might spray this with a little bit of something before I put them on too, so that they don't stick. So give me one moment. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put these on. Like so. And so those will cook. Um, one weird thing is it doesn't tell me this like the ambient temperature. That's a little bit weird, but um, anyway, we're going to target for a internal temperature of about 140. It will rest, and then we'll get a final temperature or a final temperature of about 145. Um, so that's what we'll shoot for. Let's see if we have any more chats here. Let's see. Kevin is in the house. Kevin, how you doing, man? It's good to see you again. Um, so the other big thing that I wanted to do today, again, I was going to do again. I was planning on doing some mashed potatoes, but I decided um, something that might be a bit more elegant is potatoes au gratin. This is sort of your fancier potato dish that you might see if you go to like a high end like steakhouse type of thing. Um, sorry, I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit here. Um, but anyway, I think that's what we'll make here. Something that I do need out here is a mandolin, which is also another sharp, dangerous object, but there's ways to sort of protect yourself from it. So I'm gonna go grab that real quick. So this is a mandolin. Now there is also an instrument of the same name, but clearly this is not an instrument. Or well, I mean it is an instrument for cooking, but not one I can pluck and play. So what we'll do, I'm gonna kind of set this up in such a way that you guys can. There goes my light. Shout out to Mathis. Um, so I'll share this just a moment. All right. So yeah, so Mathis gave me this light that I sometimes use for these streams because sometimes these streams do go into the evening into the night, and of course it's going to be a little bit harder to see me. So again, like so Mathis was kind enough to send me something for these streams. So big shout out to Mathis for that. Something I want to do real quick is, yeah, I mean it's trying to fall over again, but I have it anchored down right now. There's an app that goes along with this sort of like smart probe or whatever. Let me open this up here. Setup cook, lamb. Doesn't give me the option for rack, but I'll just do. Uh, let's see. Yeah, chef 10 recommended. Start cook. Don't show this mess. Start cook. Start cook. Okay. Cool. Okay. So now we have this set up here. It's going to tell me how much time it'll take, again, I'm expecting this to take maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Um, you know, again, sort of ideally, what we would do is we would actually do the potatoes at the same time, but this should only take a second here. So those these will go on there sort of also they're sort of at the same time too. But anyway, let's do this. I'm going to let me think about this. So I want to use this bowl. Let's put everything over here. So I'll put the slices in here, and to keep them from getting like, too brown, I'm gonna go grab some water real quick in this. And then once we start to make sort of the actual, the actual sort of, stuff that goes on top of the tomatoes, or not tomato, potatoes. Fuck me dead. Um, I will, I will sort of take out the water. So anyway, so give me one moment. So I think that should be enough water there. I'll bring the potatoes into play here. So again, in case you've never worked with a mandolin before, I would recommend you wear a glove. Something that will keep you from slicing off your hand or whatever. But let's just see how thin that is first. Yeah, that's. I mean, you know what? It could actually go down just a little bit further. Let's try this. Yeah, I think that's closer to what I want. Um, so there's really not much to it. You slide it across back and forth. And this is why it's important to have a glove. There will come a point where it gets too close to the blade and you don't want to slice yourself. So we're getting pretty close there. That's about as close as I want to get. And it's actually slicing a little bit of my glove here. So, but we are left with all these nice slices, right? So let's put that in the water. Some of these we don't need. Again, I'll clean those up later. But this is also going to wash off some of the starch here too. Um, anyway, so again, when you're using a mandolin, always have a glove or some kind of glove that will really sort of protect you. Oh wow. Um, let me do this real quick, guys. So this is actually going a little bit hotter than I thought it was. So it's already looking nice. I'm going to close this vent down here, and maybe I should have wrapped them with some foil here a little bit, but um, let me think about this. Yeah, I think I will close this up some too. Let's also bring the temperature down. Again, I'm just already getting a nice sort of sear on it. But I kind of want to slow that down just a bit. So let's go back over here. Kind of bring you guys up there. Again, sort of always check on your food as it's being cooked. You don't want it to start to run away, basically. Um, so let's go back to our potatoes here. It's about as close as I want to get again. And we are left with nice sort of potato medallions, you could say. Let's get the excess off. Now these were again, so these were sort of pre-rinsed before coming out here, so don't worry and think that there's a bunch of grime or dirt on these. Thankfully there's not. Sometimes it slips out. We'll probably stop there on that one. So let's get that out. Let's take all of these, put those in there. And we're just going to wash all those off when we get close to the end there. In terms of how many we're going to use, I'm actually not sure. I mean, again, I bought like a whole, like a whole bag of these. So let's do like 2 or 3 more. Again, don't be the hero. Don't try to go further than what you really should be doing. That's why it's good to buy, I guess, sort of excess potatoes. You don't have to go down so far. Now you might have also asked, Logan, why didn't you peel these before doing this? You certainly can. I find that adds a lot more work. Um, and again, I mean, I'm already someone that's already putting in a lot of work, right? More than most. So having a little bit of skin on the edges isn't going to hurt anybody. Yeah, so it says I have about 12 minutes left on the lamb. Yeah, that's about as far as I want to go there. So we'll put that in. Let's do one more. You know what? Let's just do all these, and then if I ended up having too many, then that's okay. Again, don't be the hero. Stuff all that in there. The smaller ones we can get rid of. Yeah, let's do a few more. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. I didn't actually check the stream. Let me see. Oh yeah, you guys can't see it. So that's good. Yeah, we're getting there. Let's see if there's any more comments. You want to keep the lemon off the energy? Yes, yes, you're 100% right, Dodger. Um, so it's good that I have a glove and all that. Let's see. Well done. It's only when we get older, 55, we realize eating healthily could cost so much. Yeah, I know, right? Well, hey, um, I'm a proud member of the Spartan Heads, or the Spartan Meatheads group. I mean, I'm working it out there 3 times a week. Uh, and they have a lot of healthy eating advice too. Um, Again, I don't think lamb is unhealthy or anything. I mean, when you pair it with cheesy potatoes or whatever, yeah, it's going to be not as healthy as it could be. But um, all right. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it there. Like, there's 2 more small ones left, but I think this is going to be plenty. So this is what we're left with. So I'm just going to use my hand, my non-hurt hand, and I'm just going to really clean these up a little bit, kind of get the starch off of them. Let me check on this and see how it's doing. Yeah, we're definitely cooking it. That's for sure. Let me think about this actually. Let's see what the internal is. 7 minutes. Okay. I think I'm gonna keep this uh not covered for the rest of the cook. Um and then that way we can focus on kind of getting all this ready here. So um what I'll do is I'm gonna drain these off, and then we're gonna make sort of the mixture, I guess, that will go on top of these. So actually let me grab all the other things that sort of go into this first, and then I'll be right back. I have some heavy cream here, and all the other spices that we were working with earlier. The rosemary, the sage, or not sage. The rosemary, thyme, and all that. What I'll do, let's put this over here real quick, and let me think about this. Yeah, let's go ahead and I kind of need a second. You know what? Let's take these potatoes out. And what I'm going to do, let's build our sort of base in there. Um, Although something that we want to do real quick is melt some butter. So I actually need to bring this around over to this side. Put this over here. Get this out of the way. Lots of work goes into this, guys. So make sure you leave a thumbs up. That goes to the right. Let's keep this up. All right. So I'm using a whole stick of butter here. And I might actually use a little bit more. But again, for now, let's just start with one stick. Toss that in. I'll bring you guys up here so you can see a little bit better. Yeah, I think that slowed down nicely. So I think we're okay there in terms of temperature. Here's my, yeah, here we go. So it says we have 4 minutes on that. So you may have noticed I also brought out a mortar and pestle. What we'll do, take that off. Let's chop up the rest of this parsley. Get anything we don't want off that. Let's put that off to the side. Okay, OC, shield your eyes again. You know what? That's gonna be too shaky for you guys. Let me put you down here. Again, I mean, like it might still be a little too shaky, but let's put that over there. I guess it would help if I turn this on, huh? Now, when me and OC and Lucha and Curly were talking about chefing with Moses, you know, his first episode, we were talking about proper knife holding technique. So again, you don't want to hold it like this. You want to have sort of your pointer finger and your thumb kind of holding the blade itself while your other three fingers kind of hold the actual sort of handle itself. And again, you want to think of the knife as an extension of your arm. So that's why you do it that way. Let's turn the temperature down just a little bit. Who's still in the chat? If you are still watching, let me know. Leave a comment. Say how much you love watching me chop parsley. You know, if enough people say that they love watching me chop parsley, I will make t-shirts with my face on it, chopping parsley. And you can be one of the lucky few to own a piece of Logan Hall's Girl Streams memorabilia. So make it happen, guys. Don't make me sad. All right, I think that's pretty good and chopped. So what we'll do now, let's go ahead and I'm going to add in some shallot here. And I'm just going to do a fine dice on that. sometimes you'll get like some like gnarly marks like that. Just chop it off and pluck it. Now, there's many ways you can chop shallot. I'm just going to do it this way. Hopefully you guys can see that and it's not blocked. Let me see. Yeah, you can. So by me keeping the lid open over there, it's kind of allowing me to kind of, build some time here to let this stuff get ready. Now, this will take about 30 to 40 minutes to bake. So what I may do is, I'll probably go and start my oven inside and just keep it on a really low temperature so that we can keep that warm as this finishes up. But let's go ahead and add in our chopped shallot. I'll do the other half here too. We'll line it up like that. Just do the rocking motion. And we'll kind of run through it one more time. We'll be using shallot again later on when we do the red wine sauce. Let's go ahead and add that too. What I'll do is let's go back to that. Let's go back to the garlic. Only have just another minute there on. You know what? Before we do the garlic, let's go ahead and transfer this guy inside. So that may look fairly burnt, but it's not. It's still, it's still sort of at like a good temperature inside. Although, again, I probably should have wrapped the actual the bones actually. Well, now that I think about it, but let me do this. I'm gonna bring this inside real quick. Now, you know what? Some of the bones are actually breaking off. So I'll be right back, guys. Hold on. All right. We are back to everybody's favorite garlic action. Let me check the chat here just to make sure I'm not ignoring you guys. I don't want to do that. Let's see. Who do we have? Who do we have? Jen G's here for the parsley chopping. Hey, rack of lamb, one of my favorites. Hey, chalk flew up. Dan, it's great to see you in the chat. Um, Dan, we need to get back out to Napa sometime, man. That was a lot of fun. Going back to the micro zest or like the micro planer here. Another thing that you can do with it is onion or garlic. So I'm just gonna kind of have that. Let's get the skin off. You can just kind of zest it over here, and instead of you know chopping this into like a million different pieces, it's much more efficient just to grind it. So again, you just kind of go back and forth. And then when it gets down to a little nub, you just kind of finish it off there. So let's do a few more garlic cloves like that. Again, a lot of these cloves just kind of turn into a million other cloves, which is kind of unfortunate, but again, it makes it a little bit harder to use, but that's all right. So I'm going to keep this door open actually so that we don't lose the fire. But we do still want to use this. Use this sort of later on for the actual against like the actual potatoes that we're going to be making too. So we don't want to lose that fire. I'm going to keep it going. Maybe just one or two more of these little small guys. Okay, so that's breaking up into another 1,000 pieces. And let's do one more. Okay, we've got our garlic and our shallot in there. I didn't actually bring a spoon or anything, but I'll quickly show you what it looks like. So this is kind of boiling down. We'll actually take the temperature up just a little bit because we do want that to brown a little bit. I think I'm going to be a little bit naughty and add in a bit more butter because this is going to be a whole plate or a whole, but there's going to be several servings out of this. So I'm going to keep a bit of butter for the for this like the red wine sauce. Sorry guys, you couldn't see that there, but let me just kind of show that real quick. So I will keep a little bit of butter for like the red wine sauce a little bit later on. And then let's see. So once this butter melts down, we're going to do a couple other things here. So again, we're going to pick off a bunch of these leaves from the rosemary. And we're going to use a pestle and mortar to grind up the leaves. So you guys can't see that. Let me kind of bring that closer. Joking sort of curly, if you're watching there. I will finish this prior to date night, so don't worry. I'm going to bring that down just one more. I'm going to run inside and lower the temperature of the land real quick. I'll be right back. Bring that back down. And then the idea is, once we get all these leaves off, we're going to do the sort of grind this up quite a bit. And I'll actually save some of that for the red wine sauce too, actually. I think we're good on rosemary. I'm going to add some of the parsley in here too. And let's get the rosemary. Sorry, thyme. I'm getting all kinds of confused today. Where did that go? Here we go. Organic thyme. It's time to be organic. So again, as we found out earlier, it's kind of tough to get these individual micro leaves off. I'm just going to kind of run my fingers through it. And that has proven to be somewhat useful. So I'll only get a few more of these just for everybody's sanity. And we can actually use some of this in the red wine sauce later. All right. I think I put everybody through enough torture of more leaves picking. So anyway, so with with this, there's sort of two sides. There's a kind of a wider side and a thinner side. Typically, I use the wider side more for like mashing, like that. And also, again, something that we talked about in the we kind of tilt you guys this way. Something that we talked about in sort of OC's show was, again, he was using one of these and he was just mashing, right? That will, again, like in Kojak's words, it will express the natural oils of the herbs and whatever. But you also have to spin this too. And you kind of have to like mash them to the walls and whatever. Sorry if this is very sort of wobbly. Something I may do actually is I might just finely chop this first, and then we'll use the pestle and mortar. Yeah, so let's do this. Let's finely chop this and see how much we can do with just the chopping. And I think I'm going to lay you guys down here because I don't want you to uh, be too jumpy. I guess. Set that off to the side. Let's take this off. Maybe. Yeah, I think this might actually be better just to do it this way, also. But we do want to get this pretty fine because this is going into this along with the heavy cream. So I will save a little bit of the parsley for garnish at the end. Okay, good. I was fearful that the lamb was going to sort of overcook in there, but it's right at 144. And I was targeting 145. So and I set my little oven in there to 130. I didn't want to set it to 140 or 150 because if you do that, it's going to go over. It's going to overshoot, and we don't want that. But it's going to keep it, just at that same temperature while we finish up here. Yeah, I think this is going to be more effective than grinding it. So just a bit more chopping here. It's just about there. It's a good thing I didn't take the water out earlier because they likely would have been a little too sort of brown by now. And we don't want that. So let's add in our herbs. Let me bring you guys up a little bit. Let's see what that looks like on the stem. Let's point you guys down a little bit. All right. So again, I didn't bring a spoon, but I'm just gonna kind of let's bring this up a little bit. We do want the herbs to get a little bit, woken up, I guess. And I will actually bring a whisk out here. Give me this. All right, that's getting pretty hot. So now's a good time to add heavy cream. So I use heavy, again, I'm going to use sort of heavy cream earlier in the week for something else. So I just topped it off with that last little bit, but then I'm also going to use a whole new one. So this is going to be our mixture that we kind of pour over all the little slices, Let's let that come up to temperature just a little bit before we do that. But what we'll do now, and I may actually move over to the other side a little bit. But what I'll do, oh, you know what? The potatoes actually kind of absorb quite a bit of the water here. See that? So I'm going to pour out the rest. All right, I'm going to bring you guys over here. Let's see what that looks like. All right. So this is again, I can't quite say the name, but it's a famous French brand of cookware. And this is, again, so this is what I prefer to use. I found them to be very good. But again, I'm just going to layer these like this. And then do the same thing over here. So this is why I ended up cutting quite a bit of these. I mean, I'll probably do like a time lapse here when I go back and do the editing later, but something that we'll want to do after each layer. Let's clean this off a little bit. I should have brought out some Parmesan. I believe I did. Yeah, here we go. Boar's Head, Parmesan Reggiano. Let me get a knife. Open this up real quick. Okay, so like I was saying, at the end of each layer, we're gonna sprinkle some cheese. Whoops. Let's just use this small piece for now. It's a bit easier to handle. I'm gonna sprinkle some cheese between each layer. All right. And then we just start adding more. Now, I will add in all the sort of like the mixture here that we just made, but that'll be towards the end. Cheese time. Potatoes. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I ended up shopping more than I thought I was going to need. So I think that'll work out in our favor, or at least in my favor. I mean, you guys don't eat this, but if you follow my 3-hour guide, you can too. All right, another layer. I lost track of how many layers we're at now, like maybe 4. But yeah, I mean, I just plan on making this part one big time lapse because ain't nobody is gonna watch me layer these things for 45 minutes. But the temperature of the lamb rack actually went down to 136. I can still see the internal temperature on the grill in there because I have the probe inserted. Um, and the probe works with the digital sort of readout. I actually ended up shooting a whole video doing a doing sort of a yogan a yogan like a formal formal review of it. But it was getting long, and I was like, it sort of it was getting long even after I was editing it down. And I thought, you know what, nobody's gonna watch this. Um, so I mean, like it's still on my hard drive. I can finish it up, but man, the wind's starting to go here. So this is, whoops, it's too big of a chunk of cheese. So let's put that there. I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 more layers, and then let me close. Or not close, but let me turn this down because that's starting to boil, and we don't want it to get too hot. Yeah, the idea is we're gonna pour all that over this, and it will make everything very delicious. I mean, like the potatoes is probably the least healthy part of this dish. Which like the lamb is fine. I mean, I mean, it's a good source of protein. Um, it can be a little bit gamey, depending on sort of how you prepare it. But it's naturally a bit gamey. I think if you brine it correctly and whatnot, then you do take out some of that overall sort of gaminess, I guess. But yeah, I'm glad we did all but 2 potatoes here, um, because there's not that many left actually. All right, I'm done with that smaller piece. Now back to the big piece. Let's use up these last few that I have. We could probably do one. Well, okay, so we can definitely do one more layer, but maybe like half of another layer. Actually, I think this layer might be the last one, honestly. I mean, like we're getting close to the top. So this will work out. Yeah, that worked out pretty nicely, actually. There's only like 2 or 3 slices left. So let's do a final layer of cheese. Now, something that I get asked a lot is, Logan, oh my gosh, you make all this food. You know, do you eat all this yourself? Sometimes I do eat it all myself over the course of several days, but I do have very hungry neighbors, um, and they have gotten wind of my show. Um, so, so I do share it with them too. So let me stir this around just a little bit more. So here's our heavy cream butter mixture. That's going to go everywhere, actually. Yeah, I didn't realize how messy this was going to be, but oh well. You know, I'm going to use this just to kind of spread around all that real quick. Yeah, these potatoes are ready to go. I'm going to start covered, and then when I sort of later on, when we do want to get a bit more color on these, I will take that off. Let's reconfigure our. Here, let me bring you guys over here. All right. I'm going to take this one off. Take this off. And all right. You know what I might end up doing is I might actually put this back on. And let's put a sort of, the sort of more protective layer. And let's get one more gray. Yeah, okay. I feel better about that because this is some nice hardware that I have, and I don't necessarily want it to get too messed up. Right? But anyway, we're going to leave that like that. Um, And we'll close that up. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to spend quite a bit of time doing cleanup here. So if you want to leave the stream, I don't blame you. But I do have to clean up. So now there is one more thing we will do. We will do the red sauce, or like the red wine sauce, later on. But again, that's going to take a little bit of time to do. Um, sorry, let me text somebody. All right. So again, so I'm just going to do some cleanup here, and then I will save the burner as well as one of the pans here, and I'm going to do the red wine sauce in there. But clearly, I have a huge mess here. So, you know what? I'm actually going to get a garbage bag real quick, and I'm going to clean that way. So I'll be right back. I probably won't keep this in the video, just because cleanup is boring. Nobody likes that, but it must be done. So you guys decide. You want to watch the cleanup, or do you want to spend your Saturday a little bit more reasonably? Which I don't blame you if you do. So we will actually keep this rosemary. I'll put that in the pan. Put that butter in there. Fine. We ended up not really using the mortar and pestle. That's all right. Yeah, that'll be all for the sauce. I will save some of this parsley for the very end. Put that over there. And then everything else. Toss that, toss that. I'll save these other two potatoes for later. Save the rest of the garlic. Need those. Let's put that over here. Put this there. Don't need the lemon more. And I'm going to try to keep the lemon away from my finger. We don't want that. So there's a few more here. Of course, we'll save the rest of our Parmigiano Reggiano. So this is so this actually goes goes like the mandolin. You can use that to hold on to the end of each thing that you're cutting, I guess. But I think we're okay for now. I'll go ahead and take these back inside. Let's see, we have that. Save that. Let's see if anybody else is watching. Wow, there's still 2 people watching. Hey, you 2 people, I need to know who you are because you guys are the fans of the day. That is dedication right there. You're sticking through it even when I'm like cleaning up junk like this. It's dedication right there. Let's take the mandolin and all this stuff back inside. So we'll still use this shallot here. And we will use the whisk. Also, there will be a little bit of flame action going on. I'm going to flambe the red wine sauce. But that'll be fun. I can go inside. Again, don't fucking buy one of these. These things are fucking dangerous. Don't do it. That's going straight back to Amazon. Keep the salt out here. This pan can go back in this food. Let's keep this out here because I need to use that to flambe. Now I was slinging all these potatoes on the ground earlier, so now I have to clean all these up. Guys, grill streaming is dirty work. It's a labor of love, as they say. I will check on the potatoes here in a moment to see how those are doing. Again, I'm kind of treating this as like an oven, and needs to be at about 400. can put this used bag in here. It's actually an old bag over here. I can put in here too. I'm gonna go get a broom. It's the dirty side of girl streaming, guys. The nitty gritty, behind the scenes stuff that you would never want to do. I'll move you guys back over here now. Let's see. I do have some glass cleaner in here. Guys, we are cleaned up. So that means that we can continue our preparation for the red wine sauce. Let's take this out. What we'll do, let's see, let's make sure this is still a good angle, guys. It's 1 point. Yeah, my phone's over there. Yep. We're down to one person. Hey, I appreciate any viewers watching at this point because there's not much to view here. Should have saved that bag. Could have thrown these away too, but oh well. Let's check on the you know what? I need a hot glove. Mr. Two. Hey. Hey, yes, yes. 11 a.m. sharp, my friend. Let's see how these are doing. Yeah, I definitely think they need to be hotter. I don't know if they're quite up to the same temperature that they need to be. So what I'm likely going to do, I'm actually going to go start the oven, and I'm going to go cook them in there probably. So give me 1 second. But yes, yes, I will be there, man. And it'll be a good time. For those of you unaware, well, I mean, I guess there would be no one aware because I haven't told anybody. But me and Tutor to you, Mr. Tutor to you, sorry. We're gonna go have a little lunch or brunch or something tomorrow. We're both in the Nashville area. So we figure why not meet up? So this is another way that you can cut a shallot. Earlier I was chopping it like, just straight down, but I'm doing it more like an onion now with these little slits. And then let's cut some of these. And then actually I'll stand this for this part. It's really fine little pieces is what we want. So you end up with pieces like this. Hopefully that shows up okay. And I'll just run through it one more time just in case there was any big pieces that didn't quite make it through. I'm probably going to save this other piece of shallot because this is really all we need. But yes, I will be there tomorrow. I'm going to bring my tutor just for you, bud. Hey, Mr. Tutor, could you bring your blue chrono? I'd love to see that in person. It's getting pretty fine. I think I'll run through it just another couple times. Yeah, that's pretty good. Mrs. Tutor to you. I plan to wear the pink one. Oh, hey. Mr. Tutor to you. Are you bringing your wife with you? That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, so we have the shallot. Let's do a bit more garlic here. Again, garlic is a messy business. There's one clove. Two cloves. And if we could just do like 3 for this one. All right. So let's get these to the same consistency as our shallot here. But yeah, the plan is when my oven inside gets to about 400 to 425-ish, I'm going to move them in there and just let them cook in there because I think my grill has kind of lost a little bit of its firepower here. quite literally. Um, again, I could add more charcoal, um, but I think the temperatures are going to fluctuate too much, and I would rather just kind of rely on the steadiness of of a um, a convection oven. Just you. Okay. Okay. Cool. By the way, sorry for the train. I do live pretty well, actually, like probably like 100 yards from a train. That's the only downside to where I live. I mean, it's otherwise a really nice area. All right, let's scoot this shallot off to the side here. Let's do our garlic. So again, like there's several ways to cut garlic too, but I'm just gonna sort of treat it like this, like these big chunks first. So I'm just gonna cut those down a little bit, and then they'll gradually get smaller and smaller. Scoot these out of the way. Yeah, and what I'm thinking, guys, is well, the potatoes may may end up taking quite a bit of time to cook here, and I don't want to sort of leave you guys just kind of hostage, right? So what I'll probably do is I will probably cook this red wine sauce. Then I will put these in the oven, and then I'll whip out the lamb racks. And then we'll probably just kind of finish off there with just the lamb racks. Again, I don't want to keep you guys too much here. So let me go get the wine real quick. I'll be right back. And I'll go put away this piece of shallot here. I think I'll use that later. All right. So what we'll do to kind of finish things off, guys, is I'm going to do the red wine sauce, I should say. Mr. Tutor to you, I kind of picked this up sort of in your neck of the woods at the Total Wine and More down there, sort of in Brentwood, Franklin area. But this is a Chateau Renault Les Enclos from the Saint Emilion region, Grand Cru class, 2020. So I'm just going to pour a little bit for myself. Let's see if I can pull off my best version of, give me sort of best version of a machine. He really gets in there with his nose, right? There's tart cherries, kind of earthy notes. There's actually a little bit of sort of like an acid, or it was like a it's sort of a sort of like a pH level type of thing going there. There's almost like some mushroom in it. Yeah, sort of mushroom, sort of very sort of earthy tones. It's good though. So I'll crank up the heat just a little bit, and then we're going to add in our shallot and our garlic. Let's see. Okay, we're up to 2 people. Hey, that's all right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure how long we've been going here. Probably like at least 2 hours, I would say. All right, so we are ready for our shallot and garlic. You could just do the shallot first and then the garlic if you don't want the garlic to like burn up too much. But again, this is sort of low heat, so I'm not too concerned about that. And I'll kind of use the whisk here to kind of move that around a little bit. Let's go ahead and incorporate sort of the herbs here. So the herbs are really just going to be there more just to add some more an aroma here. Like we're not actually going to use that in the sauce. But I will just kind of let that kind of spit and spat just for a bit. Just to kind of bring in some of those thyme sort of rosemary flavors. So yeah, once the shallot and the garlic is kind of cooked through, we'll pull that out. But something else I will be doing here is I will do a flambe. But you could just do a flambe just with the red wine by itself. But I'm going to add a bit of cognac here, just for another sort of flavor sort of element. Yeah, so the herbs are kind of wilting, which is good. We're getting sort of everything we can out of them before we chuck them. in case you guys are wondering, this is a induction stovetop here. So I have a set of made-in cookware. Really, really good stuff. I was debating on whether to go with, made-in versus all-clad. Um, and usually I'm a very, very sort of name brand type of guy. I mean, I typically stick with sort of like the recognizable, sort of name brands. And all-clad has definitely been around for a lot longer. Um, but I ended up going with made-in. Um, Made-in for like a couple reasons. One, all-clad's handles are pretty pretty steeply tilted. It's like the idea is they are truly meant for for actual sort of restaurants because when you have a grill or you know some type of stove going, it's going to be kind of a crowded stove, right? And the idea is you don't want the handle to be dipping into space where another pan could otherwise be sort of occupying, right? Um, so so that's why they're tilted that way. For the home chef, I don't think it makes as much sense to have that sort of steep of an angle. Now, now, again, sort of all-clad does offer handles that are a bit closer to what we have here with the made-in. Um, but ultimately, um, their their set of that was sort of very limited. Um, they had like a stock pot. They had a 8-inch skillet, like a 10-inch skillet, and like maybe like a couple other things. Um, but because this style of handle is available in sort of everything that like a made-in offers, I decided just to go with made-in. And they were actually like a little bit cheaper too, so why not, right? Um, I'm going to get a pair, just like like a little tweezers, just to get out that piece. So I'll be right back. So let's pick these out. I'm just going to lower the temperature a little bit, actually. Let's get to whining here. Now the oven inside just beeped saying that it is up to 425. So I am going to go transfer the potatoes in there too. Again, but I don't think I'm going to show that part just because it's taken so long. Um, but let me quickly just move this inside. Starting to spit at me. Okay, so I'm not sure if you just saw that, but that created quite a bit of mess, actually. I have to clean that up. I'll be right back, guys. Make to clean this up more. Sorry about that, guys. Had to do a little bit of cleanup. So let's get the temperature back up. Close that lid. Now we're getting a little bit of heat. Let's add some of that cognac. And let's have some fireworks. I mean, that wasn't quite as big as what I was expecting. Like, again, I guess sort of most of it from the wine was already sort of cooked off, and then I just added maybe like an ounce of like the cognac, right? So we're just going to let this reduce down until it becomes a nice sort of thick, lazy sauce. Check something like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the lamb rack back out here. I'm going to let it finish on this, grill. And then we'll slice into it. We'll kind of plate it up nice, and then we'll probably end it there. So let me take this in and let me go grab the lamb rack. So here's the lamb rack. What I'll do, I'll take the probe out. Go. And I'm probably just going to chop off one of these just to show you what it looks like here. Try doing it down this one. So I think I overdid these just a little bit, unfortunately. But that's all right. I mean, like they're still going to taste great though. Usually I go for like more of a rosy pink center. But what I'll do is I'll cut off okay, well this one's actually a bit more rosy pink actually. So that one's good actually. I'll take that. Um I'm just gonna have a bite of this here with the red wine sauce. Let me go get a spoon real quick. I'll be right back. So let's get a little bit more heat on it. And then we'll call that sauce done. Let's go back to the stream. Any more comments here? Oh, there's 3 watching. Hey, in case anybody just joined in the last moment, this was sort of like the finished product here. You know, again, so I mean, a bit less pink than I wanted, but I do like it, you know, pink. So anyway, so we're gonna let this red wine sauce kind of finish up. And I think I might just go ahead and take some out now, just because I don't want the pork, or not pork chops, but the lamb to get too cold out here. All right, so I'm just going to sprinkle this with a little bit of parsley here, and this is going to be our final sort of product here, guys. So I'm going to take a quick bite of this, see how I did, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap up for the stream here. So let's try it. Really good, really flavorful. Not too gamey. That's really good. Really good, guys. So if you guys liked the stream, then I recommend that you give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, I would consider subscribing. I will be doing grill streams a little bit more frequently now. Again, I was just in sort of like a holiday sort of break, and then I also kind of fucked up my fingers a little bit, but I'm back now. So again, guys, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next grill stream. So take care. Have a good one.